elevator that went down to bottom floor. The power cut out and the generator didn't kick in, and it filled with water, and these people drowned in the elevator at the. This one just kept tracking like it was going to go to Tampa. They were actually evacuating people from Tampa to Fort Myers. True story.
Really?
I know you're like, why in the hell would you want to run for public office?
Because of course you'd choose a job where the truck is red.
Why aren't fire trucks blue or yellow? I don't know.
Thank you for coming. Again.
Thanks for having me back on, brother.
Yeah. Got the liquid death. But you've been busy the last...
You've been busy.
We all have been busy.
Yeah,
This apocalypse now situation.
I love no holds barred on these things, man. We speak our minds, and foul language is highly encouraged.
I have to censor it for the first couple of minutes because YouTube doesn't like it when I do that. But yeah, dude. Have you been? You've been busy with everything going on.
I'm trying to get on Wi-Fi so I can do a little bit of my own like little promotion for the greatest podcast show in America, man. So we're going to try to do this real quick. I think
It's terrible in here.
Is it terrible?
Yeah. I kind of did that, though, so that I didn't get reception because...
you don't want to get bugged.
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, I get bugged enough, and I find it just ruins flow half the time. It's like... I think I've only ever had one successful phone call go through, and I was just like, sorry about that.
Came through?
Yeah. But, yeah, so you've been super busy... with, obviously, Hurricane Ian.
Hurricane Ian. You son of a bitch.
Fucking Ian.
Yeah, man.
He's a dick.
How long you been here?
Like slightly over a year. So this is like my first hurricane, and I got a doozy.
You did get you got the 500-year storm. I mean, that was the 500-year storm. So I've been here for over 20, and when I moved down here, this was the storm that I fretted about when we were new. And you've been through 8-10 of them. You're like, that's no big deal. This was the one, man. This was Charlton Heston, parting the Red Sea, Moses. This was the whole deal. And it was crazy. And people want to put blame and start yelling. I was at a town hall last night hosted by one of my dear friends and our badass congressman, common sense congressman, Byron Donalds. And he is just, first of all, he looked really tired. I'm tired. I did a post a couple of days ago and it really got a lot of traction, just telling people that I know how everybody feels. We're all trying to go about our everyday routine. You still got your beautiful baby girl. You still got your awesome car collection. You still got your business. You still got the, That's Interesting podcast. We've all got our stuff. You're getting more and more clients all the time, doing an amazing job. And I want to get into that because I actually went in on that because Blake Becker's killing it. And I just love the social media aspect of the videos you do. That's why I'm back. I appreciate you having me back. But man, people are frustrated. They're stressed. And my biggest concern is making sure that the right people, the people that really need the help, beyond the fluff and the selfies when we're trying to make ourselves look good on social media, the real work, getting dirt underneath your fingernails, helping people pull up stuff that you don't know, helping a complete stranger, helping somebody that may have a bumper sticker on the back of their car that you totally hate, but you're there as a human being because you hope deep down inside when I go do this stuff that if the chips were down, they've been down for Pat Dearborn before, when the chips are down, that somebody, Blake's going to show up, and irregardless if I got a Trump sticker on the back of my car or I got a make peace, not love sticker, or whatever it is, Kama Sutra, whatever you're into. that
is hard, by the way.
That doesn't matter. You help for the sake of helping.
Yeah.
And the Christian side of me says, there was this dude, Jesus, and he would go out and do all this kind of stuff. And he would tell you to do it not for people that you like. Go do it for people you don't like. And that's really what true serving is. People that I love, or if I have some angle, like, man, let me help out Blake. And then maybe down the road, Blake's really going to do some cool stuff with social media and I'll benefit. Because we do that. We're human beings. Our favorite radio station, WII-FM. What's in it for me? Everybody tunes in that station. But putting all that aside, it's been really cool to see real people. And I'm going to give some shout outs today during the show of people that I see that are real, starting off with Congressman Donalds. He's our congressman. He's got to obviously be out there helping out. But, man, that guy's lives here, been my friend, him and his wife Erica for 15, 16 years. I know all their boys, Damon, their oldest especially. So he's impacted personally because he lives here. But number two, I see the wear. He's aged like 4 years in 1 year. And I'm sorry, Congressman Donald, if you see this video, but he looked tired last night. And there were people there that wanted to get answers, including Pat Dearborn. I don't know how in the hell to apply for FEMA. I got multiple properties devastated. I've never done it before. I don't know insurance and insurance adjusters and what do I say, what do I not say. And there was a lot of that last night. I actually left there with more questions than I went there with. And I invited a lot of people. It was a good turnout, and they had it at First Baptist. But Byron's getting yelled at by people. There was people there, 2 or 3, that were grandstanding, and I understand that people are hurting. The media and certain people want to turn it into it's a brown thing, it's a black thing, it's a yellow thing, it's a white thing. I don't even know what color you call this. It's kind of pasty, shaped up, but
trying to be tan thin.
Yeah, whatever that is. Trying to make 54 great again. So it just frustrates me because it ain't about that, man. Hurricane Ian didn't give a rat's ass what color your skin color was, where your house was, whether it was down in Port Royal or on Bayshore or down on Fort Myers Beach or any of the lower income areas. It didn't matter. And Hurricane Ian definitely didn't care about whose power was out, who's going to have black mold, who died. People died. You know, I'm privy to a bunch of stories because I kind of get to be behind the curtain a little bit from the political side, the leadership side. And you hear things. You hear things like, and you've heard these stories. I mean, there's been bodies washing up on Captiva and Sanibel. No one talks about it. There's no media coverage out there.
Yeah, they're finding bodies in trees now where I live.
Where do you live?
I'm on Hickory, so we had 13 feet of surge come through.
How'd you do?
Look, I look at all my neighbors, so I'm very, you speak to anyone, like my family got very detached from how bad, they thought I was just fine, because I was like, my brain is like, I try and look at the fun part of it in all the madness. So I'm having fun on riding Humvees to and from the checkpoint. I'm like, this is cool, because I don't want to focus on all the negative side, because that'll just make me go insane.
Yep.
And so the first 3 days, I had to walk from the checkpoint across sand, because the road I normally drive is 3 feet deep in sand. So it was an hour and a half walk from my car to my house, to then do 6 to 8 hours of physical labor, because I had to rip apart the carpet, get rid of the water, to try and mitigate as much mold before my in-laws could get down here.
Yep.
Then after that 6 to 8 hours, it was an hour and a half walk back to the checkpoint across sand, because there was a curfew. I never made it back in curfew. So obviously I'm getting harassed by the cops, because they're like, who is this person who's walking here at night? Which is fair enough.
Well, but you got tats and a little bit of shaggy hair.
I don't look like someone who can afford to live in Hickory.
You look a little bit, I'm not going to lie, I would stop you.
Yeah. So
it's called profiling, by the way.
I'm okay with it.
In your case, I'm okay with it.
Look, it's a 55 and plus area normally.
Yeah.
But that was my first 3 days. And, again, I'm trying to look at the craziness of it in an exciting way, so that that's what keeps me
of course
dealing
with
it.
That's what you do.
So my in-laws, when they got there on day 4, were in tears, because this is way worse than you made it out to be. And I'm like, this is way better than 4 days ago.
Yeah.
You didn't see it 4 days ago. This is progress.
Yeah.
So we ended up, Orville, massive shout out to Orville. He messaged me at 8 a.m. on the Tuesday before, going, you're going to get hit, get out of there. And I was just like, oh, okay. Because again, the last few years, media, even the news, even the Weather Channel, I struggle to believe the Weather Channel sometimes, because they're all hype. So he hit me up just going, dude, you want to get out of there. You can crash at my house if you want. So I was like, all right. Awesome. I spent 7 hours putting everything up just in case.
Smart.
And I said, can you help me get my car out just in case? And he's like, yeah, sweet. We ended up, we are on the island. There's like, we're on a weird elevation. So we're single floor. And we're like, there was only 3 feet in the garage. So I would have lost the car if we didn't get rid of the car. And somehow we had a 1.5 foot was the line on the front door. So I'm like, the inside's going to be screwed. The front door was airtight.
Right.
So nothing got
the
in.
Water built up, but it couldn't get inside.
Couldn't get in. And then the back, the water slowly creeped in despite being 1.5 foot high on the outside.
Yeah.
And only about an inch or so got in. And then by the time, because it got ripped out so quick, it came back out. So it didn't have time to get in enough. So it's still, like I said, got an inch through. So we've had to rip out the drywall 5 inches and everything.
Yeah.
But
minimal. Like you'd already raised all your stuff.
Minimal. I'm sleeping in the house already.
Yeah.
And
you're blessed.
You know, like we got Blake Becker doing the stuff, like the drywall and the carpet replacement so that I can get my family back here. Because I haven't seen my daughter since her first birthday. 3.5 weeks ago.
Wow.
So I haven't seen my family in 3.5 weeks.
Where'd they go, West Virginia, or they were?
So we were in West Virginia for my daughter's first birthday. Had her birthday on the Saturday. I flew back on the Sunday, and then a hurricane hit, obviously, the Wednesday. So
you flew back not just for the hurricane, but just for work in general, or
both.
for the hurricane?
It was both. I was originally flying back anyway.
Yeah.
And then the plan was, like, my mother-in-law was like, are you sure you want to go down? Because there's a hurricane, and if they get, like, you know, if they evacuate you, it's really inconvenient. I'm like, look, if it gets, I'd rather just be prepared.
Sure.
And not need to be than the other way around.
Listen, and I know you enough to know. Party is like, I don't want to miss. Be honest. You're new. You're Australian.
I'll miss a hurricane.
You'll miss a hurricane?
Okay,
I didn't know if you were like a little bit curious. Like, I want to ride one out to see what it's like.
Do you know why? I had my Pokemon cards on the floor. I was like, you know what? I want to get shit safe in case.
Pokemon cards, buddy. Priorities.
Amen. But I would have lost a lot more things if not. Like, I definitely would have lost a car.
If Orville hadn't, that call
that
kind of got that, common sense.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't. And I can tell you, we've been through, in 20 years, been through a bunch of these. And I know they're real. I don't, but I also know the media overhypes them. It is dumbfounding with all the technology that we have in this world and all these Jim Cantori, the Weather Channel experts. They just can't ever seem to get, this one really gave them fits. And Byron talked about it last night with FEMA and all the government agencies. This one just kept tracking like it was going to go to Tampa.
Yeah.
But then they were actually evacuating people from Tampa to Fort Myers. True story.
Really?
Yeah. True story. They shut my son's school down, college at Tallahassee. We were up there the weekend before the hurricane. And we came back on that Monday and the hurricane came on Wednesday. And they closed down schools, and we're just like, shoot, we should have brought Cooper with us because it was going up that way towards the Panhandle. Thank God we didn't. And my gut told me, I told my wife, it had been so quiet this season that the Pat Dearborn gut, which is very astute in certain times, normally not when it really matters, but anyway, the Pat D gut was telling me that because it had been so quiet this year, like not even a ripple, not even a threat of a hurricane. I'm like, wow, it's been so quiet. To me, it was eerily quiet. And I just felt like when I saw this storm, I was on record in front of 3 or 4 people, I'm like, this one's going to be a big one for us. I could just tell. And at the time, it's going to Tampa, whatever. So we come back down here. I learned from Irma, though, man, when you have clients in my business, real estate, you want to be here. You got to be boots on the ground. And I'm not saying that to be macho or cool. I live far enough inland. I'm not rich, so all of us non-rich people, hardworking people, we live further and further out, right? So I'd love to live west of 41, right? I sell a lot of properties west of 41, but that's not in the cards. So we live east of 41 and east of 75 and east of Collier Boulevard. So we're out there. God's country. So I knew we'd be safe. If Storm Surge comes out to Collier Boulevard, man, we're done. Naples is gone.
Florida's yonder.
Yeah, so it's done. I got my big inflatable Zodiac raft, and we'll just let the chips fall where they may. So I wanted to be here. I've learned that from the past because my phone starts ringing and there's lots of great concern from people you haven't heard from in a long time. Like that one ex-girlfriend from high school. She's like, hey man, are you okay down there? Wow. Betty Sue, where you been for the last 38 years? But my clients need to know because they've got big, substantial properties, and it just helps to be the guy on the ground when you talk that talk and you say, hey, I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be your realtor. I'm going to be here on the ground. You need anything, you call me. And then that big hurricane comes, they call me, and I'm somewhere else. So we wanted to be here for it. And I actually co-hosted a little hurricane pre-party at Seat the Table on
I saw that
Tuesday. Just
crazy
chill,
Floridians.
just crazy chill. We weren't doubting the power of the storm, but what got us this time was what we've been dreading about as long as I've been here for the last 100 years, which is the storm surge. So the storm surge came, it kicked your ass, it kicked a lot of people's asses. I've got a partner, but we're in multiple investment rental properties, and we did that a lot this year. Great timing, and just renovated things and new stuff and new furniture, and just my highest was 6.5 feet on a property behind Jermaine Lexus over by Wiggins Bay, and it came up. I had to step on my tippy toes. Almost 7 feet was the water line. Blew the garage door out, and one kind of wild story. So I walk in there the next day, and the water's gone, but the door from the garage into the house, first floor, was still closed. So I open that door up, there's 3 feet of water that have been sitting inside the house. I couldn't get out. And the water starts rushing out. And here comes this black water mock, some black snake water moccasins. I'm not a snake expert, but scared the heck out of me. I actually have a video, but I'm cussing so much because snakes and spiders are my two bugaboos. So I don't like big spiders and I don't like snakes. And I got a little scared. This black snake came out, but that was kind of a cool man versus wild story during post-hurricane here in Naples, Florida. I just had on like flip-flops or tennis shoes, and the snake swimming around, and my little video was, I literally freaked out like a little sissy. So that
snakes are beautiful, man. You got to give them a shout. Just give them a shout.
I don't want to kill them or anything. I just don't like when I open the door and one's like swimming around the water. If you and I went swimming in a lake somewhere and a snake came towards us, you're not going to sit there and try to pet it, are you?
No, but I'll stay still and watch it.
Wow.
Yeah. I love snakes.
It's
talking the wrong guy.
It's the Australian, you buddy. You all love that stuff.
Spiders will stay away from there.
You don't like spiders? Okay, cool.
No.
Good. And then redheaded ex-girlfriends too, man, are also on the list. One of my bugaboos. You don't want to mess around with
especially
those,
in the wild. You got
with
to be
those gingers. Yeah, they get a little crazy. So all this stuff's going on, and we're here. You're here. Orville gives you a little bit of great advice. But there were people that didn't have people that were there to give them advice, and nobody left. Everyone I know, nobody left. So none of us knew that Ian, that son of a bitch, Ian, was going to come in and do what it did. Biggest storm ever. Like that thing just ripped up Florida. I think it hung around like a week later. It was still like bringing rain up to New York or something. So that one was like the Energizer Bunny, man. It just wouldn't go away. I heard somebody, maybe it was DeSantis, called it a 500-year storm. So I'm okay with, knock on wood, that if that doesn't happen again for 500 more years. But the loss of life, the stories you hear, most people that live in Naples and live in Southwest Florida all moved here because their mom and dad or grandparents lived here first. I always laughed about that because I was the first one. My parents followed me here. So there are a lot of people that when they couldn't get through to their mom, dad, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, grandparents, they're calling everybody. They're calling me. Hey, can you go check on? Hey, can you go check on? Hey, can you go check on? The problem with that was a lot of these deaths and issues, we put more lives at risk because when you get in your car and try to think you can drive through in your little Toyota Prius through 3 feet, 4 feet of water, it's not going to happen. So more people got stuck, got trapped. We've seen little bits and pieces of pictures and little videos here and there, but a lot of it we won't ever see. We'll just hear about it. Just like we won't never see, and you'll probably never publicly see the story of people were staying there on the beach. And I was told by a very good source that people got trapped in an elevator that went down to the first floor or bottom floor at the Ritz, and the power cut out, and the generator didn't kick in. And allegedly, it filled with water, and these people drowned in the elevator at the Ritz-Carlton. So, and there's just tons of those kind of stories of people just trapped. I mean, you mentioned the storm surge you got on Hickory. Imagine an older couple being in there, and they're not too mobile, and the thing fills up, even like my place at 770 Park Ave. 7 feet of water inside your house. I mean, you're almost by the ceiling. I'm a pretty damn good swimmer. Probably not Australian level, but not bad. And it's pretty scary, you know.
The thing with the water, though, and this is why I didn't even risk it, is especially this side of the coast, the water here is just, it's bath water. It's so calm. You know, like a rough sea here is nothing. Whereas
2 foot waves. Yeah.
Whereas in Australia, it's like,
oh, dude, every day.
Our current, our rip. It's, you know, you'll be chatting to someone standing in like hip height water,
push you down,
and you'll just be chatting, and all of a sudden you didn't know you're moving, and all of a sudden you're like 200 yards down the beach, and you're like, how do we get here?
Real deal.
And I mean, I've swum in like the ocean parts too, and it's like, you know, 6-7 feet of swell, and you learn to work with the water, not against it.
Don't go against it.
So when I heard about the surge, I was like, I'm not taking any risk. Whereas people think, oh, it's just water. It's like, that's like, it's the same as having a brick wall come at you and you going, don't worry, I got this.
Yeah.
You can't. And so when we were chatting to the police, one time, they were saying that most of the deaths they were hearing about at that time were panic evacs. So people, you know, they see it start to come in inside a foot at that time,
try to leave.
and they go, they get in their car, start driving.
Stuck.
That drive is like, it's 10 minutes without water.
Oh yeah, Hickory, yeah.
And so in 10 minutes, that water, it can easily go from a foot to 3. And 3, you're not moving your car.
No.
And people were just then getting taken right out and just gone.
Yeah.
So,
sad.
Yeah, it's been very
horrifying, actually, loss of life like that. I mean, it's crazy. And by the way, I'm going to go back to my earlier statement. Didn't matter what your skin color was, didn't matter what your political affiliation was, and it didn't matter whether you were in the wealthy neighborhood and you had a Maserati or a Lamborghini in your driveway, or you're like Blake and Pat Dearborn and you got a beat up, you know, dirty car out there. It didn't matter. Ian didn't care, man. Ian and these once in a lifetime storms, Mother Nature, they don't care. And that water, there's a movie out, you know, that in Thailand had that big, huge tsunami. And of course, I wasn't there, but I'm a big movie guy. We talked before, and there's a movie.
I was alive during that. Like it's near me.
Yeah,
like obviously Thailand.
Scary.
I would never go near the current if it gets sucked out.
Yeah, the movie with Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor and their kids, how they were on vacation at some beautiful resort at wherever it was, Phuket or wherever it was in Thailand, and then of course all the water got sucked out, which happened here. They showed video at Tampa. Thousands of boats on the dirt because the water got sucked out on the backside of the storm, and then it would suck it out and then just pull it
back in.
And that same water could be coming. That could have been some of the storm surge you saw that damaged and ruined your place where you live. But that movie was it's an amazing, very stressful movie to watch because you see the physical torment this family when they got separated and how some of them died, some of them lived. But you think about water. The Gulf of Mexico is beautiful. Dolphins frolic in it, manatees, little sea turtles, fish. We fish in it, we swim in it, we sunbathe in it. We kayak and paddleboard. Can't surf. People try to tell me they surf in Naples, man. 3 foot waves. Come on, dude. Three times a year. Stop it. And I lived in American Samoa, Tahiti, Fiji. I've been to Australia, New Zealand, so I know real surf. I learned how to surf in the South Pacific. That's real surf.
Yeah, I feel like I hate it when I talk about the surf here.
Yeah. But people don't realize, man, that water, that storm surge, that salt water, how corrosive that salt water is, by the way.
Yeah.
And then it mixes with all the sewage, and it mixed with fuel, and it mixed with every freaking thing from alligators to snakes. You had I think there's a video of the sharks swimming right downtown Fort Myers,
That's a wild image.
But there's tons of those things that weren't even captured on video. Just nuts. But that water's all mixing together. And like you said, use that analogy, brick wall. Nothing's stopping it. You know, there's a reason why Noah, built the ark and water destroyed the earth. I mean, water is so destructive. Go look at the Grand Canyon. Little drops of water did that. I mean, it carved in the Grand Canyon. So it cut right through low-lying, flat, peaceful Southwest Florida. And I'm thankful that I'm like you. I always look at my liquid death. Mountain water half full, not half empty. And instead of obsessing about it or being self-absorbed and saying, woe is me, you're the same mentality. That's why we get along. I'm like, fuck it. We're good. We're blessed. We got it better than other people. What can we do to go help out other people? And it goes back to my original statement that I posted a couple of days ago is I'm just stressed out. Don't even realize. Me and my wife been waking up early. And I think we're just thinking about stuff that I normally, and it's not just our stuff, or are we going to get enough insurance money so we don't lose money or whatever it is. It's just people that I know and people I saw last night, regardless of skin color, regardless of Fort Myers Beach or downtown Bayshore in Naples or Hickory, that are just hurting. And I think the stress levels are really, really, really high. I mean, I've been here 20 years, never heard about somebody getting shot dead, at a very well-known establishment, which was Mercado at Cabo.
I heard about that.
We've got the Sheriff Rambos, is going to be on our show tonight, the Patriot Talk Show at See the Table. He's going to talk about that. And they caught the guy. The guy left the country and came back. I don't know why he did that.
What was it over?
I don't know the full story. We're going to hear more about tonight. But the person that was killed was an older person, older than 65. And allegedly they were at Cabo. Why you'd bring your mom and your older family to Cabo to celebrate her birthday. I think people were just tired of being cooped up because of the hurricane. Who knows? And altercation broke out, and this guy was knocked out on the ground. I've got the video that was floating around. I've got it on my phone. The guy was knocked out. These two younger guys knocked him out, but then they still wound up and just shot him. I got the video that shows them shooting him. So really sad, really horrific. But my point is, every time I'm driving, like today, you mentioned, she was maybe stuck in traffic. I was stuck in traffic. And more than ever, in my mind, I'm like, listen, A personality, chill your ass out. You have no idea what that person in front of you, behind you, who's riding your ass, whoever, you have no idea what they're going through. Are they displaced? Did they lose somebody in the hurricane? Are they without their own home? Are they living out at Hertz Arena? You got 300-some people that have been living at Hertz Arena. Now, most of them were homeless already, I was told last night, and now they're being relocated because Hertz Arena is not designed to be able to really help people out there to live. And I think they're being relocated to an abandoned Publix grocery store in Fort Myers. But the point is, stress levels are high.
Yeah.
People are really anxious. People are really nervous. And by the way, as a society, we already are that anyway. Southwest Florida already had a housing problem. We already had an affordability housing problem. We already had a homeless problem in Southwest Florida. We do. We have all those things. And now Hurricane Ian, that devastation now in that post-world, it just magnifies all that stuff. So I know you're the kind of guy that with the message you're going to put out is we have to take care of our fellow man, period. End of story, not a corny statement. We have to do that. And how we're going to do that is by checking every bit of ego and status at the door and going in and helping people, even if they have a Biden bumper sticker on the back of their car, which would drive me crazy. Even if they're wearing masks still, which drives me crazy. I don't know why I let that even bug me, but it just does. That's my own little issue. I've got to check all that at the door and go be the best person I can be and get my hands dirty and go help these people whatever they need. And there's so many awesome stories of organizations and churches and groups and people individually. You've been out there helping other people. It's real easy when we're helping out one of our best friends. It's tougher when you have to do it for people that may not be people you like in general for a variety of reasons. And I'm seeing people being more grace-filled, full of grace, full of compassion, being kind to one another. So that's what I think we need to really do. And I'm saying that for my own self. This is group therapy for Patrick Dearborn. I struggle with humility. I struggle with turning the other cheek. But this storm really hit home for me that, man, now is the time to check all that other bullshit at the door and just reach out a hand and say, hey, man, I know you're fucked up. I know you're hurting. You ain't got to tell me. I don't need you to fill out a survey or a comment card. I can see it in your face. Last night at that town hall, I saw a lot of faces of people that are just stressed out from all walks of life, from all financial ranges, from all skin colors. I don't like that we make it about skin color. That's the media. That's certain people just go into that, because I'm telling you again, Hurricane Ian did not give a rat's ass about what your skin color was. So at the end of the day, I go to bed at night and I feel thankful that we've got enough good leadership, not a political statement, enough good common sense leadership here, boots on the ground. Byron Downs, our congressman. I think our governor, nobody's perfect. I think our governor, Ron DeSantis, has done a very good job of being here the entire time, his wife Casey, his team, and really helping out. Now, that being said, we have got to pull our heads out of our ass and get the federal government rolling. Why in the hell we don't have FEMA trailers here for people that don't have a place to live is freaking beyond reason. And Byron was attacked about that last night. It's not Byron Donald's fault. He's one member of 400 some members in Congress. But President Biden, I think he's a fan of your show. If President Biden's watching this, if Kamala Harris is watching this, Nancy Pelosi and all the Republicans and Democrats and all the leadership in Florida and the United States, get off your asses, get FEMA trailers down here. We need thousands of them between Southwest Florida, Fort Myers, Lee County, Collier County. And let's find a location for these places and let's start taking care of the people as opposed to herding them into the Hertz Arena, herding them into an abandoned, rundown public store. So whoever has that game plan to get that rolling, contact me and I'm all in. I'll make a donation today towards that and I'll go there and volunteer. Now, there's good stuff going on. You see it, I see it. Let's talk about some of that good stuff going on that you've seen. Tell me some things you've seen or somebody you've seen or a group you've seen really doing real work to help people.
Before we get to that, because there was one other point.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. It's your show. You do what the hell you want.
The thing that I'm noticing, and this is a hard... So a lot of people have been angry about people just going on with their lives. Now, it's different for us because we've been directly affected with it.
Yeah.
And now to understand where, like, you go from where I live, where it looks like Iraq with multi-million-dollar homes, you go 2 miles up the road to 41, you wouldn't know that a hurricane hit at all because that was just enough damage to get, swept away pretty quick. And the tricky thing is that everyone still has bills. Everyone still has their own issues that
which they had before the hurricane even came.
Which they did, yes, yeah. But we get trapped in that.
Yeah.
And there's a hard part where it is, if it's not directly affecting me or someone I know, it's not even that it's not that they don't care.
Yeah.
They're not affected by it, and it's like, well, shit, I need to look at my own. I need to look after myself. And I know that when I had friends that came to help me in the first few days, they were really affected by people that were out partying the next day. F you guys, and can't believe, they just don't get it. Yeah. And I'm like, give it a week, and you guys will be doing the same. It's just that's how humans are.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't taking it personally when. I was more like, holy crap, when I had two complete strangers reach out going, hey, do you want me to come help? I was like, yeah, that's
pretty
fantastic.
Gives you faith in the human race, doesn't it, when that kind of stuff happens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was focusing on that instead of why aren't more people helping me? Because, again, I get it. Shit, look how quickly we got over the war on Ukraine.
Yeah.
We were so passionate.
There's a war in Ukraine?
Yeah. We were so passionate about that for a week.
Yeah.
We need to do something. People changing their display photos, doing all these things show that you care.
Yeah.
And then it's man, I really need to afford the next iPhone. I need to go back to work.
Yeah.
And so, you're right. It's like people need help, but we're in this weird thing where, and we're all guilty of it because, I mean, shit, there's still slavery going on around the world. Like, the phones are built on slavery.
Yeah.
We keep going. And so to see other people just move on, it's like, it's hard. And then the political game comes into play where it's, all right, the federal government want them to step in, and they should. But then it's like...
By the way, this coming from a guy who believes in smaller government and the people taking care of themselves.
Yeah. It's an interesting... Because, I mean, New Orleans got smashed by a hurricane.
Katrina.
Yeah.
Way back in the day, yeah.
Even one last year.
Oh, did they last year? Okay, I didn't know.
See? So, because I was over there with Blake Doyle last year because he had to set up a new shop for his business because of how heavily they were hit.
Wow.
And a lot of people affected. But this is the example of, again, is like, it's affecting us. And we get very angry at other people not wanting to help. And we need them to. But my thing of always like trying to understand the full scope, so that keeps me less angry, I think, at the world, is, again, like, there was a hurricane that smashed a different state literally a year ago, and you didn't even know.
Yeah. Or just didn't even pay attention.
Yeah. But the people that live there know about it.
Of course.
They know about it. And
same things happen right now. They don't know what's going on in Florida. They've already moved on with their lives.
Well, they have. It's the next thing. Like the Kardashians have a new Botox line.
Yeah.
And
Kanye West wore a White Lives Matter sweatshirt. That's still a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's just how the world operates. And, I think that's another thing where I'm looking at my blessings. It's like, because believe me, in the last 2 weeks, I've had a massive fight with my family in Australia. I got uninvited to the wedding, to my sister's wedding, because...
We got to delve into that, buddy. Listen, I'm here for you too.
Well, it's a long story and I hate me for talking about it, but it was a long story of... They wanted to know if I was coming to the wedding or not. I'm like, dude, let me just deal with this shit, because it's in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I was...
You didn't want to go anyway. You didn't want to go anyway.
I wanted to go to Australia. I just miss it. But... I just needed some time to figure out everything, because that's a $8,000 trip.
Yeah,
and that's with my dad paying for accommodation.
Yeah,
so I will just.
Meanwhile, your family's not here. You're missing your daughter. You're missing your wife. I mean, you got a lot going on that you're a little transient right now. So it's a little tough to fly.
And I was sleeping on a couch. But I wasn't making it look like I was struggling, because I was just like, look, I'm looking at everything that's great.
I'm good.
So anyway, words were said. I told him, I don't like your husband to be anyway. Let's face it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm not the only one. All right, good.
And so I got uninvited.
Okay.
And so there was that, and then there's been other arguments within my own family, because again, they're not here. There's stuff, even though one conversation's happening, everything else is building up in the background about everything else that's, because my wife's not here. And so she's going through her own stresses.
Sure. Just her taking care of your baby girl.
Yeah.
Where's daddy at?
Yeah. So it's like, for me, I'm like, if I can't get my own people in my family to fully empathize with my situation, how do I expect a complete stranger in a different state to even give a shit? And also looking at you look at the videos. I don't connect with the videos because I'm here because I see the devastation. I'm
You've seen it firsthand.
It's way worse in real life.
Yeah.
And so when I look at it through those lenses of someone else, you can't connect with it on the level that we are. No. And so it's tough because you want help, we need help. But I also get the disconnect because we've been guilty of it so many times before. Yeah. And we will be again. Something could devastate the West Coast. Mm-hmm. There'll be political shit. Liberals, they deserve it.
Don't get me started on political shit, dude.
But you know what I mean? It's a shame that's where a lot of things seem like. You've seen things like, some dipshits are like, Florida had it coming.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Crazy.
Come on, man. No one deserves to have their house ripped out or lose
But
everything.
there's just as many people, and
On
I'm
both
not one of
sides.
them. That somewhere happened in California, they say the same
They
thing.
say the same thing.
There's fucking
And
great
it's-
people in both.
Yeah. So it's really it's a shame that
But we're programmed to think that way, brother. That goes
We
back to
are.
our last conversation.
it's that Jersey mentality. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it wasn't my team.
Right.
It happens every time. Watch whoever wins next election is going to say tough titties, deal with it. Whoever loses is going to say it's stolen.
Right.
It happened the last two, and the ones
It's
before that.
It's now the pattern.
It's the pattern. And there needs to be something that changes where it's about humans instead of some sort of made up jersey.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are more towards that, and I think the media likes to focus more on the extreme sides.
Of course they do. Divide, divide, divide.
Yeah. But in terms of getting people to get help, I think it is just one of those things. And there's a lot of people that are doing it. Charlie Rocket, he flew away from Dubai, and he's raised like 200,000 or something,
Yeah.
and giving each family 10 that he meets.
Good. That's pretty cool.
It's literally dollar in, dollar out. And they're full transparent about that.
That's cool.
So that there are really good people helping. The things that I'm really disappointed about is the insurance companies ducking and weaving. And you're seeing it left, right, and center now.
That's what they do, dude.
I know. But it's like I said to someone the
they
other
do.
day, I'm like, I feel like in America, you don't pay insurance companies for insurance.
Mm-hmm.
You pay them for the privilege to be able to sue them. You know? Because you're going to.
Good point.
You're going to. It's just
So-
if you aren't paying them, you haven't got the privilege to sue
Well,
them.
you've got, exactly. We've got so many attorneys, man. That's what they need. They need jobs and work too. So the lawsuits will fly. I do feel, I know the insurance companies are tapped only because they just got crushed with Irma.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, and I'm not going to name names on this show, but, in my world of real estate, from 2017, which when Irma was here, to I think there was a 3-year window to 2020, even 21, there was this big thing about, hey, man, hey, talk to my guy. He knows how to do it. He'll get you a free roof. He'll get you a check. I got a lot of faults. I'm just like, dude, I don't need a new roof because ultimately, like karma, it's going to crawl back up your leg and bite you in the ass. So, and I'm not judging the ones that did that. These were friends of mine. These
What
were
do you mean
clients
they
of
got
mine.
free roofs? Like,
Whether
run-
they had roof issues or not, they were able to work the system because there were people going around, roof companies going around that knew how to work the system
with the insurances,
to get you a new roof,
was that
which
big?
adds value to your house.
Yeah.
So, wow, real estate was already going crazy the last 3 or 4 years. Now I put a new roof because my house is a 1990. Now I put a roof on a brand new roof on that would have cost me $120,000, $150,000 for free. Mm-hmm. Then I'll sell my house because it's worth a lot more now with a brand new roof on it.
Is that what caused that insurance apocalypse thing that happened like this year or last?
So it's cool you actually brought that up. So we definitely saw before Hurricane Ian insurance rates coming home to roost. We had to pay for it being out of control with Irma with all this roof damage. And you think about all the condominium associations and the carports and the garages and the clubhouses. God bless these HOAs that hire these attorneys, and several of these attorneys are my friends. But they do it for a living. Hey, man, the insurance company's not looking to pay us. They're looking to pay us maybe pennies on the dollar. You hire an attorney, they go get you $11 million. The attorney makes 10, 20% of that $11 million. The HOA gets flushed with cash. Everybody's happy. They refill the reserves, and then they go fix and redo and retile and re-roof all the roofs. But they had to fight for that. So we just got done going through all that, and you're 100% right. Rates, everybody's insurance in the last 12 months was already, mine doubled. Everybody's doubled, tripled. I'll give an example. A good buddy of mine owned the water sports for Marco Island and the Ritz. That's since been sold to the Hoffman family. It's a great business. So when you go say the JW Marriott and you want to rent a jet ski or go parasail or go do a jet ski tour of 10,000 islands or paddleboard or kayak or whatever, ride the little banana boat behind the thing and fall off, you go to this company. Well, this guy's a friend of mine, and he happened to tell me an average premium for them every year for the insurance on, I don't know how much equipment it was, but just picture the Ritz and JW Marriott down in Marco Island. You're talking about power sailboats, power sailing, 30, 40, 50, 60 jet skis, paddle boards, kayaks, all that stuff. A lot of equipment, a lot of liability insurance. Average, they were paying about $250,000 a year. Big number. It just went up this year. It went from 250 to almost 400, and then from 400 in 2020 or 21. Don't quote me on all this, but the net of it was their premium this year, $800 and some thousand. Now,
that's a lot.
Even at that number, they're still a very profitable, I'm assuming, business, right? Mm-hmm. But that's a big increase from 250 to 800. And now what's Hurricane Ian going to do?
Oh, it's going to jack it even more.
So, but then I also have those bottom feeders that call, hey man, can we, we're going to come down there. Any great deals? Can we go down there and I'll bring my checkbook and go try to buy a property on the beach for pennies on the dollar. So, and if anybody out there watches this show and wants to, and you're that kind of a buyer, I got no problem with you wanting to be a bottom feeder, but don't call me because I'm going to tell you go F yourself because there's people hurting. There is no deals. I actually think the market's actually going to get tighter because you have all these displaced people with nowhere to go. I get calls from families and people that live in Port Royal, on Gordon Drive, downtown, on the beach, Spyglass Lane, Port Royal, direct off. And their garages were filled up and they lost their Maseratis and their Lamborghinis and their Rolls Royces and all that. And they can't stay in their house. There's no hotels. You know, the Ritz-Carlton's closed down right now indefinitely.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know all the reasoning because they were expanding and almost doubling the size of that Ritz with that whole new tower, but they had sustained some major damage. So we actually have fewer hotel rooms. Where do you think all these government agencies and FEMAs and State Farm agents, all these insurance adjusters, all those truck drivers driving those big cable trucks, wire trucks that are cutting down all the trees and doing a great job getting everybody's power back on? Where do they stay? They don't drive back and forth from Miami. So my point is the Motel 6s and all the little Hampton Inns and all that, they're all booked solid. There is no hotel rooms. All these thousands of people from Marco Island all the way up through Lee County have nowhere to go. We already had homeless people that have nowhere to go. So all of a sudden now there's nowhere to go stay. So I think rentals, which were already minimal, there's already a shortfall of rentals. And by the way, we're heading into season. You know when we're busiest in Naples, everybody loves coming down here, November through May. So we're going to really start to enter into some unprecedented times with no inventory, no affordable housing, no place to rent. And the poor people that lost their places they've had for 20, 30 years down Bayshore with no mortgage, they can't afford to go move somewhere else. Yeah. They can't afford Naples prices now. So it sucks because that's my business, but it sucks because we're going to see a paradigm shift. I keep telling people, I think we're going to age. Hurricane Ian's going to cause us to age and grow 10 years in the next 2 years because you're going to see a ton of money, I think, pouring into Fort Myers Beach. You're going to see Fort Myers Beach, in my humble opinion, become like South Beach was 20 years ago when South Beach was cool. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
horrifying.
The infrastructure at Fort Myers was not built for the surge. And it's evident too. Like you go down my area, Hickory, there are all those big houses with, the flood requirements, 15 feet from.
I wish I had known
whatever.
You lived there. I would have come over and hung out before you got wiped out by the storm surge, man.
Yeah, we have a tree ornament now that's a boat.
Nice.
But it's interesting to watch because you go down that road, all of them are still, again, all things considering, they're in good standing.
They're going to be okay.
There is the occasional old house that is Fort Myers style. It's across the road.
Right.
Yeah,
and one side's big money, because on the water, one side's not. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's only one side of houses, but the houses that were Fort Myers,
Older
time area,
construction. Yep.
they don't
Ranchers.
exist anymore.
Right.
They're across the road in the trees.
Right.
You know? So, and I mean, I remember Blake Becker was saying, he's like, dude, everyone's been joking about Fort Myers for years, going, they need an upgrade.
It was a shithole. I'm just
Yeah,
being Fort Myers
they need
Beach,
an upgrade.
never went there.
And like I said to him, I'm like, it's almost like Mother Nature went, hold my beer.
Yeah.
And just was like, I'll take care of it.
And it sucks, and it's horrific who died, and I got friends that are there right now on that beach. But every once in a while, the forest needs to burn. And what happens when a forest burns? New growth,
Yeah.
new plants, new trees, attracts more animals, etc. It sucks when it happens. Same thing with the storm surge, man. It's we're going to age and fast forward 10, 12, 15 years
I believe it.
in the next 2 or 3 years. You already had Margaritaville. Huge,
Yeah,
big thing going in, big corporate money going into. Someone told me that, what's the one I went to in Mexico? It's a big famous place. They're coming in. Senior Frogs is already coming to Fort Myers. What's going to happen is all this corporate money is going to come in, big money.
Does that mean it's just going to be corporatized though then?
I'm not a fan of that. I'm just saying to you, I don't know the ins and outs, but my point is big money is going to come pouring in
Yeah.
to downtown Fort Myers. Big money is going to come pouring into Bayfront, Bayshore, down Naples, where you had, I mean, look, 10 years ago, that was drug central for Collier County, down Bayshore.
Really?
Oh, man, it was a dangerous place to be. You talk to anybody who's been here for a long time, Bayshore Drive was the hood for being downtown Naples. So that now has kind of wiped out a lot of those places.
Yeah.
So many people are displaced right down there right now and have nowhere to go and can't afford to go pay rent, et cetera. But what's going to happen is you're going to see a resurgence. You already got Celebration Park. You got obviously the most beautiful botanical gardens in the country already there. I'm not sure how much they were damaged. I'm assuming a lot. That street got devastated. Point is, you're going to see even more growth. Naples is already getting ready to explode. You got the Four Seasons coming in. You got Patty and Jay Baker. They're going to open up a new art center right there. They're turning that little downtown area from Bayfront and where Naples Square is, in between Fifth Avenue and the Bay, into the Naples Design District. You've got Central Avenue. The construction and the development was already getting ready to go off the charts. I really believed, doesn't mean I like it, don't like it, Naples was about to become, we talked about it in the last show, a Beverly Hills, which sounds kind of cool in some
Fifth
ways.
already kind of feels like it is there.
It is.
Yeah.
But you're going to see it. And Fifth Avenue's already, how in the hell do they have 4 feet of water and everything's already open there? I don't get that. The restaurants.
Yeah.
I'd be a little careful drinking those drinks and eating that food because I'm just being honest. You had 4 foot of storm surge and they're already opened up like 3 days later.
Yeah.
God bless them.
Just the hair dryers everywhere.
Hair dryers. But you're going to see rebuild at warp speed in Southwest Florida like we had never seen. At the end of the day, God rest the souls of those who lost their lives. God bless those that are going to be displaced and are probably going to leave the area. All that sucks. But the growth is coming. The price points are going to go even higher.
Yeah.
The development's coming. And whether we like it or not, man, we're gonna time warp speed that thing. 15 years, we're gonna age in the next 2 years, and we're gonna sit back and go, "Oh my gosh, this place has changed so much." We say that now every couple of years. We're gonna say that 12 years worth in the next 2 years. You watch, and people already wanted to be in Florida, and now I think if we can come back and rebuild quickly, those that can, Blake Becker Home, they're gonna see business like they never thought they'd see before in their lifetime.
He's already like that.
It's crazy. He does great work. I mean, he was busy before, but if you're in
I've told him, dude, I'm like, let's make you the number one known person here. Because he is working like 16-hour days.
That's crazy.
He hired 31 people in 2 days.
I don't doubt it.
Like,
I don't doubt it.
Insane.
I don't doubt it.
You
And
know?
then I'm gonna digress for a second and look at. But then with all that great stuff, Blake Becker's going to do great. If you're in the home renovation, if you're in the home build, if you're in mitigation, who's ripping off all these drywall and this flooring and bringing their machines in and drying out these places?
Yeah, I've been thinking about buying a Serve Pro.
You and I can move back in there. But I'm just being honest. So think
Yeah.
about how much money and business there will be for the next 6 months to a year, just by doing that. Think about how much money insurance adjusters are going to make, because there are private ones you can hire to bring in to make sure that the insurance person you talk to, who's definitely going to lowball you, you can bring them in to get a second opinion to help yourself get as much insurance money as you can.
Well, I've heard some stories I don't want to say who it is, you know who it is, but he was telling me stories about his experiences currently with the adjusters. And it's just like, huh? Like, they're doing some shady crap that we can't mention on this because I don't want to leave my friend legally liable. But
what happens in this podcast stays in this podcast.
Yeah, it's just our secret. No one's listening.
The names shall be whatever to protect the innocent.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see. And you're right. There's going to be. I like that analogy of the forest, because I had to educate my wife on that. When in our relationship in 4 years, we've lived through the worst known bushfires in Sydney.
Wow.
Followed by floods straight after that. Followed by COVID. Followed by moving to the other side of the world during COVID, and now getting smashed by the worst hurricane that probably America's seen. I'm like, man, our life isn't boring.
COVID. From Wuhan, from the town of Wuhan.
Yeah.
In the wet, at the wet market, somebody bit a bat, and then the bat caused all this stuff.
Did you see? Did you see the other day? What was
Chinese coronavirus.
So because I never watch the news ever.
Good for you.
I
watch your podcast show. I watch Florida Weekly's podcast show. I don't watch any news either. I stopped.
Stick to that.
And I was addicted.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people.
Well, because it plays into your anger.
Worshipping that TV.
Yeah.
Done.
So I was watching, because I was staying at Orville's house. They just had stuff on, and there was obviously an ad break. It was hilarious watching this ad about COVID. You know, like people that are highly vulnerable, the obese, the cardiac, people with diabetes, all the things that were conspiracy theories in 2021 early.
True.
It's now that science. It's like, I was just watching this going, okay.
I just saw a video of Mark Zuckerberg talking to all of the Facebook employees a year ago, telling them, look, we're going to push the vaccine, but I'm highly encouraging you guys to be very careful, do your own research, and I'm not recommending you all get the vaccine yet. This is Mark Zuckerberg. There's a video out there talking to his employees about a year ago. We're going to keep pushing the vaccine through our platform, but to his employees who he cared about,
just be careful.
Don't take it.
That one though, I'd like to see that, because I've been seeing a lot of deep fakes circling now.
Yeah.
I have people send me ones all the time.
Oh no, they're doctor, they're fake. Oh yeah.
And I watch it because there was one on Obama.
Yeah.
He was giving the inauguration speech or something, and he's talking about how dumb people are and this and that. And I'm watching it and I go, look at his mouth.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah.
That's a deep fake.
Yeah.
Because there's the deep fakes. You're talking about 10 years from now. I'm terrified about news and we think misinformation's able to go wild now.
Oh yeah.
Imagine you can fake, you can create fake bots that
CGI,
create humans.
Everything they can really make it so realistic.
Imagine that. All you have to do is the other side, because you bet both sides of the political spectrum are going to do this. They're going to start leaking fake stuff on whoever the president is, of them saying this, and this, that to do whatever they want. That I'm worried about that shit, because I know how it works, and it's not even that good yet, and it still sucks most people in if it taps into their consistency bias of
course.
Trump definitely said that, Biden definitely said that, and Biden you never know, but Obama definitely said that, and you look at it and you go, no, that's so obviously fake, but you will bypass it
in 5 years when it's not
fake, and you can't look. I'm looking, and if you're looking at it with a knowledge going, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Big movie guy. So flashback to the 90s, there was a movie called The Running Man, based off a best-selling book that starred Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, love Arnold.
And in the future, not too distant future, everybody loves this game where people get a shot. They're criminals. They get a shot, and they can get through this game they get to go live in paradise and they're free and they get their sentence commuted. And it shows that Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of the militant government people that he refused to shoot down these people, and they arrested him and put him in jail, and then they edited, fast forward in the future, and made the video look like it was him saying shoot these innocent people and kill them. And he ends up being able to prove there's like just a couple Australians and a couple crazy conspiracy theorist people like you and I that lead this rebellion. They're able to actually tap into the government-run TV network and let everybody know that they've been lying to them, which they have been doing. And you got to go back in time. I'm a history guy. The Nationalist Socialist Party, the Nazi Party, and by the way, there is the word socialist in their tagline. They became the masters of media, so much so that they were able to turn ordinary good people, ordinary good Christian, whatever religion they were, law-abiding, honest, tax-paying Germans, to believe that anyone Jewish was horrible, bad, and should be killed. And if you go to the Holocaust Museum in D.C., we have one here too. It's good. The one in D.C. is unbelievable. And now back then there was no TV. Back then they had radio, which was just starting to really become big, and they had print media. But they used it, these pamphlets, they used it to really brainwash good people. And I'm a really big student of psychology, Pavlov's dog, experiments they do with people. And time again, since the dawn of history, we've proven that we can be influenced, we can be persuaded, we can be herded into beliefs just because of media, news articles, radio, now TV, 24-hour social media, 24-hour news networks. And then you're talking about 5-year, 10-year in the future where they can pretty much, with CGI or their bots or whatever, they can manipulate. They could take our broadcast right now and change every word we're saying, have it on film, and then you and I would be arrested tomorrow for saying things that we never said. But they're going to have video of it that shows clearly what we were saying.
Infinite proof.
It is. So that's the world we live in, but that's where it really started. And it's sad to think that we've come that far, but I'm going to tell you, man, we haven't seen anything yet. I'm optimistic, though, at the end of the day. It's the same thing we talked about before. I think you are, too. At the end of the day, I think humans are good. I think human beings want to help their fellow man, woman, child, regardless of skin color, sexual orientation, what their religion is, what their political beliefs are. I really believe that. I'm a huge believer in leadership leading by common sense. I think locally, we've been talking about the last 2 years, and I've spent a lot of time beating the drums locally. I think we came out better than almost any other place, region in the country regarding COVID. And it's not about, this is where I struggle with humility. It's not about me telling my mom and dad or my friends here in town that were my dear friends that I had to play the game and sit out in their driveway and stay 6 feet apart or 12 feet apart. Or it's not about we told you so, we were right, you were wrong. It's about we got to move on beyond that. But it's going to come again. There will be something else that's going to come along again. In the meantime, we've got natural disasters that are just caused by Mother Nature and by our environment that wreak havoc, and we're still going to pick up the pieces from that. We can rebuild all this stuff. We can rebuild brick and mortar, roof tiles. Blake Becker can come into any disaster area and do a phenomenal job and make it look brand new and better than ever. And God bless him for doing that. He's the best in the business. You can quote me on that. But more importantly, are we going to make ourselves better towards each other? Are we going to make Southwest Florida because of how we treat each other? You and me. How I treat Biden supporters. How I treat people who want to inject CRT and trans stuff into public schools that your little daughter's going to go to one day. But can I check that at the door and still want to go help them and reach out my hand and say, hey, man, you're hurting. I want to help you out. even though I totally disagree with every ounce of me, what you're trying to do to our public school system, or what you're trying to do by bad-mouthing our governor, or what you're trying to do with pulling the race card, or what you're trying to do with whatever. And by the way, when you do all those things, and no one's perfect. I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. All we're doing is letting them win, and all they care about is dividing us, until one day we're so weak internally that someone will come in here and just knock us right off. So I'm very optimistic, and I've seen so many great things going on in our community that I'm a huge believer in light will always overtake darkness. And whatever you believe in spiritually, that there is a plan, that this is a test for us to really grow together and be stronger. And it's okay for people to be stressed out. It's okay for people to go, I'm worried about me. That's okay, man. I want those people that are really stressed out. And by the way, they were probably stressed out before. They're a single mom and they can't stay in their house because now their house is destroyed and their dickhead ex-husband's not going to help them out. We've all got these stories of our friends that are going through these different things. They're going through a divorce and one of the parties is really in financial trouble trying to raise their kids. As a father now, you know how challenging this is. And I know you look at things so different than just the Blake Doyle perspective, because you look at everything now. What world is my daughter, who's as cute as a button, by the way? Your daughter's freaking awesome. I see all your videos with her. I didn't know she wasn't here. Get your daughter back here, man, because she makes you better, and your wife. But what world is that daughter? What world are my grandkids going to grow up in? So, and that leads me to, because I know you're like, why in the hell would you want to run for public office? That leads me into why I would do that. I'm running for fire commissioner, not really a political
Which
position.
I find is great, because of course you'd choose a job where the truck is red.
Yes.
When you told me, I was just like,
I'm gonna chug some more liquid down. Hang on.
I was like, of course he's doing that. No, you know.
Why aren't fire trucks blue or yellow? I don't know, but
I was like,
so,
of course he's gonna not the police.
But speaking
They're
of,
blue.
police are. So speaking
No, I
of that
know.
though, hey, how about a quick shout out to him, man? Like, you were accosted, but you saw law enforcement doing their job, because even though they question you with your shaggy long hair and
I also had a camera around my like, you know me, I'm a vlogger, so I was like, I look like either an opportunistic kid or I look like media.
Yeah.
And I don't look like someone who can afford to live in that area, because I can't yet. But I can stay at my in-laws.
Are you appreciative? I know the answer, but are you appreciative that they stopped you and they were trying to protect that neighborhood and protect our town from looters and all that?
Do you know there was looters coming in by boat and jet ski? We had Marines at night stopping people. Like, they had to. It was literally, not even joking. It was like a war zone without the fear of being shot.
Yep.
It was so like. Yeah, absolutely, 100% appreciative. I wish the curfew didn't exist and I could get back to my house, but you know, other
is
than
that still going on, the curfew?
Yeah,
it's midnight till 6 a.m.
No, it's 7 or 7. So
where you are, 7 to 7.
I can't leave my house. Well, I can leave my house. I just can't leave my area. But because of no CMs, they suck. I can't leave my house because I just get eaten alive, and they're worse than they've ever been because of how much mud there is.
And you have to
everywhere.
walk.
No, we can drive now.
Okay.
So once they cleared all the sand and everything, you could go up and down in the police quad bikes, Humvees, or trucks. So it was like you had a convoy, just so that flow of traffic wasn't a problem. And
crazy.
They only opened it up to driving. You had to go get a approval and stuff and proof and have a pass for about 5 days, and then they just opened it up now to like the public, but there still is the curfew.
But again, they talked about it last night at the town hall meeting. It's crazy because you want people to get their houses fixed up, but there's really no way to really tell if these guys are. I mean, it puts a huge onus on our law enforcement to try to protect us from the looters and the bad element. I think, Carmine Marcino's Lee County Sheriff, dear friend, long time, 15 years, Kevin Rambus, Collier County Sheriff, longtime friend. He'll be on our show tonight. I think the job that they're doing is phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I call our town Freedom Town USA, and I really believe that. I think they're keeping us safe. They're not perfect, but they're doing a really good job. I think the same thing. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of stories of firefighters, cops, EMS going out and saving people's lives during this crazy, devastating hurricane. And we'll never hear about most of them. And people call me all the time and go, man, what can we do for these guys and ladies, first responders? Go buy them lunch.
Mm-hmm.
They're stuck in these fire stations. You know, they work 24 hours a day. You know, they do get some time off, but they're there. And they respond to every 911 call. If you start having heart palpitations right now and you think you're going into cardiac arrest, I know CPR. I'll pour some liquid death down your throat. I may or may not do mouth to mouth, but we would immediately send her to go call 911.
Do I know, Homer?
We would send her to go call 911. Guess who's going to show up? In Collier County, I'm pretty sure it's same in Lee County. Fire department, EMS, and law enforcement. The point is these guys do a great job. They do a great job. But like anything else government related, there's issues. Spending being one of them. So as we head into 2023, post Hurricane Ian, financially, the county, Collier County, Lee County, is going to be under a tremendous strain. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some FEMA money and some other money rolling in, but make no mistake, that shit's going to take a long time to come. I don't even want, we talked about it earlier, I'm not a big fan of the government will come save me. We have to save ourselves. We have to take care of each other and ourselves as a community. I don't need, no disrespect, Joe Biden or Kamala Harris rolling down here in their FEMA truck handing out checks. The people that need that, please contact them, let them go do that. But I think a lot more of the work and so far the salvation of our area is coming from people that are stepping out every day and wanting to help. Now, cops, firefighters, EMS, they get paid to do that, right? We pay them. And they get paid out of our taxes. We've got damaged fire stations, we've got damaged equipment, and we have to, in my opinion, if I'm elected, we have to shorten the response times for people when they're really, really, really in trouble. How do we do that? We got to make sure that we streamline a lot of things, and we got to make sure that we potentially can hire new, younger, amazing firefighters.
With that one, sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Because that hiring, I mean, the cost of living here seems to be something that's really creating an issue with hiring emergency response people like police, firefighters, teachers.
Essentials, absolutely.
Is there anything in operation currently to help combat that? Like, I mean, wages is one thing, but I mean, I make good money already, and I'm not at a point to move out of my in-laws.
Right.
So, it's What's some of the solutions you think off the top of your head?
Great question. It's a real challenge. I'll use the Beverly Hills analogy. Beverly Hills, and I've only been there one time, but I had someone say Naples is going to become like that. We've got some of the most expensive real estate in the world. Our taxes are still better than a lot of the rest of the United States. Now, I don't know how much experience you have. I know you have family in West Virginia. I don't know what their tax base is, but I will tell you the majority of people that are moving down here, they're leaving New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, etc. They pay way more in taxes. We're blessed. We don't pay an income tax here. That's a big deal. Imagine, let's say you make $100,000 a year and your income tax, state income tax is 7%. So there's $7,000 gone. There's your family vacation. There's a car payment right there gone. It goes to the state. We don't have that here. We're blessed. But we do have taxes and property values, and these property taxes are predicated on the values of our properties, right? So you're with your in-laws, but still, their property values are going up, up, up. Your in-laws' property tax bill for 2022 is high as shit, guaranteed, because
Probably
we've
doubled from 2 years ago.
So how do ordinary people afford that? And by the way, we had firefighters and cops lose houses due to Hurricane Ian, and they got nowhere to go. That's a whole nother issue. There's a GoFundMe that the firefighters started, and I helped promote because I love our first responders, always have. But to answer your question, that's a long, detailed, layered answer. Guys that I voted for and promoted to become our new leaders at the county level, Collier County Commissioners, I think there's going to be a movement to privatize. In other words, the next big builder, if GL Homes is going to build 2,000 homes in Lee or Collier County, you make sure you go to them and say, look, I want 10% of those homes, 200 homes set aside at a much reduced rate for teachers, for law enforcement, for firefighters, for EMS, whatever that essential list is. Now, comment on that. I think it's really tough to tell who is essential and who's not. Because I would tell you, pastors of churches that oversee and talk to and help inspire and motivate and lift up thousands of people in our community every day, whether you're down with that or not, it's called religion and faith. But I think pastors are essential personnel. I think nurses are essential personnel. Teachers are definitely essential personnel as long as they're not pushing CRT and all their crazy liberal stuff on my 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid. The point is, who's going to determine who the essential personnel is? Now, I think it's pretty easy. Everybody in this room would agree. Law enforcement, cops, for sure. Firefighters, for sure. EMS, for sure. Teachers, for sure. Nurses, for sure. After that, I think there's a lot of people and a lot of professions that I think have validity to saying, hey, I'm an essential person. But if we just take care of those 5 and a GL Home said, okay, we'll set aside 200 homes. So the homes are right now selling for starting at $600,000. I can't afford that house because by the time you put upgrades in, oh, you want lights, oh, you want this, you want that. You want the quartz countertops and the maple wood cabinets with the cherry glaze, and you want all that shit, which is what I sell, by the way.
Cherry glaze sounds pretty good.
Sounds pretty
and
good.
delicious.
Making me hungry. So they would sell them homes at a much reduced rate. So let's say they're selling for ordinary people $600,000. They'd sell to them for $400,000. Well, why in the hell would GL Homes take 200 homes and do that? Because then the county would incentivize them with impact fee reductions and tax reductions to make it worth their while.
Impact fee reduction? What's that?
Oh, the county charges impact fees every time a builder comes to build a property, whether it be 1 home or 100 homes or 1,000 homes. They pay an impact fee.
And what does that mean?
It's just a charge that the county charges for every piece of, whether it's a new shopping center, it's a new gated community. Impact fees are levied on from the county to bring in income because there's growth, there's roads, there's all kinds of things that may be impacted. We may need to add a new traffic light because it's a new 2,000 home community. So impact fees are paid for by the developer, charged by the county to help pay for those extra things that are going to be needed, including the roads, including the traffic lights, et cetera, et cetera. Another fire station to accommodate those kind of people. So a reduction in those fees to incentivize the builders to do that, the developers, I think is potentially, and I will be making none of those decisions as a fire commissioner if I'm blessed to be elected. What I will be doing is, if elected, is as the Greater Naples Fire Commissioner. Greater Naples was 2 different fire districts. It was East Naples and Golden Gate that merged together. It's now the largest fire district in the state of Florida. Biggest. So many stations, so many great firefighters. A lot of them are my friends. So I ran for this because I'm going against a guy who's been an incumbent for a long time. Not bad-mouthing guy. I think the guy's a good guy. He's a former firefighter. From a budgetary, fiduciary, financial responsibility side, I think that the inmates run the prison. I want to make sure that we take great care of our firefighters, all of them and their families. But there has to be fiscal accountability. We've got to have transparency. So in our budget, if I get elected on November 8th and I beat this guy who's the longest tenured incumbent of Greater Naples Fire Commissioners, if I beat him in the election, me and 4 other commissioners, 5 of us total, will be part of a board that oversees close to a $40 million annual budget. So it's like running a corporation. And I've got some experience with that, being on the board with John R. Wood Properties, running my own multi-million-dollar business for the last 20 years, et cetera. And I was also a planning commissioner for Collier County for 4 years from 2016 to 2020. All that stuff and $8.75 will get you a coffee at Starbucks. I always feel a need to give back to the community and serve. This is one of those ways that I think it's really not a political position, because I don't think I'm cut out for the political world, because I'm just going to tell you to go F yourself if you kind of get in my face. And I think I kind of run on that edge of the political spectrum. I'm pretty hardcore. I mean, come tune into our Patriot Talk show every Tuesday. And luckily, I'm not alone down here in Collier County, Freedom Town, USA. I mean, we are, I think, the majority, not the minority. But the firefighters need to be taken care of. They need to make sure they have the best equipment. They need to have the best livable conditions in their fire stations. But we got to do that with fiscal accountability. I don't want to I'd rather not raise people's taxes if we don't have to in the coming years to pay for this stuff. And if we need to do that, then I'll go push it and drive it. But I'm hopeful that if I get elected, and that we can really bring back some transparency and some real common sense fiscal responsibility with that budget, and hopefully get the union, because the firefighters are union, hopefully get them on board. There's going to be some battles. I'm looking forward to it. But at the end of the day, why I'm running for this thing and put a bunch of my own, I put $10,000 of my own money into my campaign because I want to win, is because I really feel like this is not some trumpet call to self-importance. This is a trumpet call to serve, just like I served in the military, just like I served and got paid zero as a planning commissioner for Collier County. Some of these positions, you do it to make sure the community that I love, and I love our first responders, that we keep it great, and we can even make it greater and safer. So that's why I'm running for that. And I think after seeing Hurricane Ian and the impact and how many lives and how many amazing things these firefighters and first responders did, even gives me more motivation that, man, we need good leadership. And I pray and hope that if I get elected, that I'm that guy that can hopefully bring some common sense and do a good job by taking care of our first responders, but also making our county and our town even more fiscally responsible and make us better. Because we're going to be in a tight crunch here, I think, heading into 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. So that's why.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how it unfolds across the next few years.
What I want to hear is I got Blake Doyle's endorsement.
Hey, dude, you got my endorsement. You know that.
Hell, are you serious?
Yeah, man.
Is that on tape?
That's on tape. We
Blake
got that.
Doyle?
Everyone see that.
That's interesting podcast. Nice. Talking about.
Because it's an interesting thing. Like, it is funny because, I mean, Rogan speaks about it all the time about,
Joe Rogan.
Good old capitalism.
Yeah.
We want it. But at the same time, there's a little bit of socialism we need, which is the fire department, the police. Like, we need to make sure that everyone still puts in the pot because again, it's just like this hurricane. No one cares about them until they need them.
Right.
And, it's like, why would my money go towards that? It's like, well, it's sort of like insurance.
Yeah.
And if we can.
And I care about those people that were homeless before, that are homeless now. And I know we care about those people that are displaced, that don't have their in-laws' place to go stay in, that don't have, you're still displaced. You don't have your family here. Like, you're still, you're dealing with the stuff. You're not looking at it as a negative. You're not looking for a pat on the back or to put a little tin cup out there that people start putting change in.
My house has like a jet airplane in it right now because it's full of fans that are just going 24/7 for the mold.
Drying it out. Yeah.
Bruh.
By the way,
jet airplane.
You just said that 4-letter word.
What's that?
Mold.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be a real problem, man. When you get that storm surge, mold for a lot of people, specifically black mold, toxic mold.
People don't know about it too.
They don't. That's why
people think they're getting scammed when they're like, "Hey, we have to rip out the walls." They're like, "Oh, it was dry. This is where you're scamming us." And it's I get it because, I mean, the only reason I know about it is because my in-laws used to own a Serve Pro in West Virginia, and I did their marketing, so I had to learn about all that stuff. And again, that's another blessing we had, which was they told the guy they sold it to, we need 10 fans, 60 hues, blah, 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 blah. They packed the truck, drove down.
Yeah.
So we saved a lot of money by being able to do that ourselves. But it's true. People don't know.
You're getting hooked up all the time, man. Daggone.
Well, that's what I mean. There's so many things that have been like the amount of work that me, Steve, and Sherry, who they're 59 and 60.
Yep.
The amount of work we did, full, what do you call it? Mini demo. Like I ripped out the carpet, everything else. And then they also, what do you call it? Then Steve was cutting out all the drywall. Sherry was pulling out stuff. I was ripping stuff up. We had two complete strangers reach out to help, which again is proof of content because one of them saw my Instagram reel that I posted and then like just came across it by chance, saw the, yeah, she just randomly saw my reel and then saw my story going, hey, I need some help. She's like, hey, this is Gigi.
Awesome.
And I was like, cool.
Gigi.
What up,
Love
Gigi?
Gigi.
And then another guy was, what's his name? Nick. And he'd come across a clip from Brad Kozer's podcast and was following me for like a month. And then was like, yeah, I'll come help you. Drives down from Fort Myers. So
Cool.
all that stuff, with again, two strangers that didn't know me from a bar of soap coming to help. And then, Giovanni, Hannah Vogel,
Love Giovanni.
Jordan's husband, he came and helped. Orville came as well. So did Lauren.
Awesome.
But like all these people are helping. But again, like
Dearborn
so
wasn't there,
many,
man.
you were busy helping everyone else.
Jerk.
But all these people that came and helped, and again, the things we happened to, like my father-in-law, he went and fixed the whole electricity
Yeah.
because he knows all that stuff. So again, I'm looking at all these blessings
Hell yeah.
that
Blessings.
it's like the fact
I like you saying that word, blessings, for sure.
because they are.
Yeah.
Like if you rewind, and this is how everything progressed. Day one, I'm like, oh, we're without a house for 4 to 6 months, easy. Week number two, okay, maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
Week number 3, do you know what? We might be able to get you back here, Stace and Sienna, in another couple of weeks. And it's like the house is going to be livable within 4 to 5 weeks of having the worst hurricane come through.
Think about how
Is
blessed you are, those
insane.
connections.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
How critical and how important is it I'm going to give a plug to our networking group that I meet you in, but how critical is it when you have that kind of a network and support structure? Not just for other people to refer them business, but when shit hit the fan and Blake Doyle and his family needed help, and you got the roofer, you got Vogel, you got Hannah Vogel, you've got Blake Becker, you've got all these people that can come help you. Man, that's a huge deal. What I want now in the Naples group, we need in our arsenal, is somebody who knows how to navigate and go after and get the insurance money that we're all going to be owed. That is somebody, whoever that is, that we can trust, that could really help us out.
Other Blake.
Which Blake?
Blake Day.
Blake Day?
Yeah.
He's what?
Public adjuster.
In our group? I know, I'm only kidding. That's my whole point.
There's too many Blakes in my life.
He doesn't know it. Does he know how to do the application and who to apply with and all that stuff and
He's
really
pretty-
navigate that?
He knows a fair chunk about it.
Okay, good. Then I'm going to give him a call.
Yeah. No,
Blake Day, I'm coming for you, dude.
I don't know about FEMA, but like the definitely the going off the insurance companies, he's got.
Good.
Oh man, yeah, he's very good. Like this is the great thing about what I do. It's like I learn so much.
Yeah.
Because I'm like I have to ask them the questions. Going, what don't your customers know?
Yeah.
And it's like boom, 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 and yeah, what he does as a public adjuster is fascinating. I can't say it on here because obviously legal reasons with
I would have told
insurances,
you
but
snooze fest, but now with devastation of Hurricane Ian, those public adjusters, man, that is key.
yeah,
Wow.
it's through the roof. Like it's there's no shortage of work. Anyone in construction of any type is worked to the teeth for the next 2-3 years.
Crazy.
Like to the point where like, speaking with Blake Becker and he's just like, dude, I am not sleeping,
But and now it's great. He's that busy, but you also got to be able to walk that line and be able to live your life and be able to sleep a little bit. Not sleeping for the next 2 years is not going to be healthy for Blake Becker. So
No, I think it's mostly the demo stuff because of the urgency of the mold. But you know, once it gets to the part where it's like renos and stuff, and,
Yeah.
and it's health not an issue, you know, people will be like, I don't give a shit, I'll wait 4 months.
Yeah.
But just definitely the first month of getting everything out, like, it's, you don't wait around. Because even us, like I said, I ripped most of it out. Even 7 to 8 days into it, we ripped one cupboard out. It was already developing mold.
Oh yeah, no, that's real deal.
So quick.
Yeah, man. Thank God we got some cool weather coming, like really cool. A cold front's coming through here. I think starting tomorrow, where we're gonna be highs of 70s and low down to 59 to 60. So it's gonna be really nice to really open up a lot of these people that don't have help yet, that don't have power yet.
Yeah.
Be able to open up their windows and actually have fresh air coming through their property.
Well, how cute was Mother Nature like the week after
Oh my
Hurricane
God,
Ian?
the weather was beautiful.
I
man.
know. I'm just like, it was like, sorry. Like,
Yeah. Crazy, dude.
but awesome. Yeah, dude, I really enjoyed this.
Always.
You
Therapeutic.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like therapy.
It's group therapy.
And so you're going to be fire commissioner. I'm going to call it. Is that right? I got
Yes,
it right?
sir. Fire commissioner.
Fire commissioner. I'm excited. I think there's definitely a lot of heart. I don't know the candidates, but
Not about the other person. It's about me.
It's definitely
I'm
about you.
focusing on me.
But you make a good point of, you know, there is pros and cons for someone being in the front line coming up into power. Like there's a different scope that needs to be viewed from a certain position. So that's an interesting point to think about.
Not easy. And I love the fact that it's really not a political position. It's not. Matter of fact, on the ballot, there's no Republican or I can't put my party affiliation. Neither can he. So, and I've got so many awesome firefighter friends in Collier and Lee County. So I'm excited about hopefully not letting them down. First of all, we got to win the election, and it's tough. And I don't know, it's my first time ever doing this, so I've never ever been on a general. I think the last time I ran for public office was in 5th grade.
Oh yeah,
I lost to a girl named Kimberly she was super cute. I had braces on and looked super ugly. I had big, thick glasses, and I think her campaign was, if you vote for me for president of the 5th grade class, everybody gets free chocolate milk at lunch. And
that's the cheat code.
She just
you voted for her.
I voted for her, yeah. So, but yeah, man. So we'll see how that goes. So November 8th comes up quick.
Yeah.
That's also the same day that we're voting for our governor, which, just being honest, the last time around, DeSantis didn't win by a whole lot.
Yeah.
He's running against Charlie Crist, so I think he's going to win, but you never know. And then we've got some Senate and U.S. House, and whatever side you're on, there's going to be some change in the D.C. leadership, and I'm just optimistic that the right people. Forget politics for 1 second, because there's enough Republicans that piss me off too, just like Democrats. So the infighting I see just locally behind the scenes pisses me off, and I'm not cut out for politics when it comes to that. I just want to take my 12.5 size flip-flop and put it up somebody's ass because of the infighting and the cat and mouse game that goes on, the BS that goes on behind the scenes, the politics. And politics are everywhere. There's politics in the Naples group. There's politics in any place you work. There's politics at your church. There's politics everywhere. Everybody's kind of angling for their own thing. What Hurricane Ian did for all of us is hopefully reminding us what really matters and what the main thing is, because the rest of that stuff is minor bullshit, from my ego to we get so caught up in us. And I've just been having a good couple weeks, unfortunately, because of Hurricane Ian, because we go out and we give back to other people, man, and you do it genuinely. You can't fake that stuff. There's so many awesome people out there doing great things. Ashley, Jerry, and Rosemary Zor and Mike Randall all got together with Adam, and they got a location. They took over the old Panera, and I think they're paying for the lease on it. And it's a great distribution center where things are being brought in every day and things are going out every day. We've got drivers volunteering, and we're taking care of people in Collier County and Lee County. And there's a ton of things going on in Lee County, tons. And I do have one very vague but huge announcement that has not been announced anywhere publicly. That's an interesting podcast. It's about to get the scoop.
Ooh.
You ready?
I'm ready.
So in the works, December 1st is the date. I can't say, I don't know what I can or cannot say. December 1st is the date at Hertz Arena. There are some amazing people behind the scenes putting together, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of logistics, the biggest, most badass benefit concert probably in Florida history. And there are some big names already attached. And we've lost out on a couple of big names. I'm talking rock and roll. I'm talking country music. I'm talking some of the biggest names ever heard. So if this comes together and comes to fruition on December 1st, it's going to be beyond awesome for our area, for Southwest Florida. I know the governor's involved, his wife Casey, and some really big names. And people like Ashley and Jennifer and Ira and Alfie and Brendan and those kind of people are all working behind the scenes, coordinating everything from hotel rooms to transportation to stuff. And it's not going to be easy. But I think December 1st is a day that will go down in Southwest Florida history as a pretty cool thing. And there'll be a telethon and there'll be TV. There'll be coverage. Love to have, that's interesting, Blake Doyle on the spot.
I'll be there.
Doing maybe a podcast and getting a couple of these people on there. We could probably put
podcast.
out. So
Yeah,
I
we could do
can't
that.
guarantee that, but Pat Dearborn will put a good word in for you. So anyway, really excited about that. More details to come, but there's great things coming. Again, there's a great saying, man. Adversity causes people to break or break records.
You're
Sorry,
popular,
man.
popular boy, huh?
Phone's blowing up. It's Bruce Springsteen. He can't come down here 12-1. Being dead serious. So adversity causes some to break and others to break records. And all I'm saying that is to everybody that will watch this podcast, and you get so many views in your stuff. So I'm thankful, man, to have me back on the show. We're just two guys that are here, boots on the ground, trying to make it, trying to do some good for other people. You're still a mess. I'm still a mess. It's okay. We understand that. These Pokemon cards all around me, man.
They're not a mess.
I don't know whether to hug or pet
Right?
the wall.
Just
you got
stroke
right
the
here.
furry wall.
I love it. but Blake, you're real. I love real people. And what I'm seeing is, because of this devastation caused by Hurricane Ian, is the real people are really visible right now. And the ones that weren't, or they were here for other motives, or they just weren't good people, maybe they're not going to be here. Maybe this is the signal for them to leave town. But I'm hopeful and optimistic that the adversity we've all gone through is going to cause a lot of us to break records for others. And those people that might have been down and out before the hurricane will hopefully be given assistance and a leg up and a hand up, not a handout, so they can go out and become even better and greater. And I really believe at the end of the day, whether it be 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 10 years from now, we'll look back at Hurricane Ian, the 500-year storm, and we're going to look at each other and go, man, the loss of life was horrific. The loss of property and what it did to people's lives was horrific. But man, look how our community came together. Look how we helped each other out. Didn't matter what my skin color was. Didn't matter what your political affiliation was. It didn't matter how much money you had or didn't have or where you worked. You're a human being. I'm a human being. And we're going to help each other out. And I just pray that we can continue that juju, right? I call it juju. Great energy, great faith in each other. And we put fear aside and we just keep believing in each other and helping each other out. And if those that want to abuse that, I pray that the wrath of God and the hand of the law come down hard on them from hurting other people, taking advantage of other people, looting, all those things. We got no place for that. And God bless our first responders for hopefully keeping the wolves at the door. I just pray that we can keep moving forward. And I'm just telling you, I know in my heart, we're going to sit back here and hopefully we can do a show in 3 years and go, dude, we talked about this 3 years ago. Look how awesome our town's done. Look how awesome our community's done. And look at the great things we've accomplished when we put all of our egos and bullshit aside and focus on the main thing, which is helping each other out. And I think it's going to work out pretty good for us.
Yeah, me too, man. Let's end on that. That was
Okay,
motivational
let's
as
go.
shit. I like it.
Cool.
All right, guys, make sure to subscribe. See you soon. Bye. Yeah, follow and vote for Pat. Vote for Pat.
.com.
Do it.